So welcome you all for Tungal online classes. We are discussing the chapter moving charges and magnetism. In that moving charges and magnetism, so yesterday class we have seen regarding a solenoid. We have started Ampere's circuital law. Then after Ampere's circuital law, so we have seen the application of Ampere's circuital law, which is magnetic field due to solenoid. So there is one more application is there. So that is of toroid. So toroid. So I told to you what are the solenoid and toroid. These are the two components to produce magnetic field. So magnetic field can be produced by using this solenoid and the toroid. So what is this toroid will be? What is the difference between the solenoid and the toroid is? So toroid also cylindrical coil which has large number of turns, but only the difference for this toroid is, so it is bent in the form of circle, a circular ring. So it is a long solenoid, long cylindrical coil with a large number of insulating turns, but what happened, that cylindrical coil was bent in the form of circular ring. So this is called as what, a toroid. As similar to that of yesterday, so each and every, now here current is entering and here is current is leaving. So if I consider the cross section of the toroid, so how will be the magnetic field? So magnetic field here is entering. So when it is entering, it will act like a, so magnetic field is due to that current carrying perpendicular to plane passing into the paper. So whereas if I consider here, so magnetic field is perpendicular to plane passing out of the paper. So this direction is based on the direction of the current entering or current leaving. So for example, I want to calculate the magnetic field induction at a point P due to this toroid. By applying Ampere's circuital law, if I want to calculate, so let me imagine one Amperian sphere or Amperian circle. Amperian circle of, let me call the distance of this point P from the center is R. Then that sphere, that circle radius is R only. So then let me apply according to Ampere's circuital law. Ampere's which law? Circuital law. So what can I write? Line integral of, so B bar dot dl bar will be equal to mu naught into I net, total current. Total current. So okay now. So if current here, let me call current entering is I naught, leaving also I naught. And let us suppose total number of turns. Total number of turns in this toroid is N. Okay, Nara? I net value. Now, where I consider the point P consider, so exactly on this, which one turns only. It is not inside, it is not outside. So inside also magnetic field if I want to calculate, so due to that toroid inside that is 0. Why it is 0 means there is no current inside. If I consider a point P outside, so magnetic field value, so here it will be cancelled out due to current entering and leaving. So due to the adjacent coils, what happens, the magnetic field is in opposite direction, the resultant magnetic field value will become 0. Here also B value 0, here also B value 0. I am calculating B value exactly on the turns only. So line integral of B bar dot dl bar is equal to mu naught into I net. How can I calculate I net? If there are capital N number of turns are there, the current through each turn is I naught. Then the total current is given by N into I naught. And what is the direction of the magnetic field? So magnetic field direction will be tangential to this imaginary surface. This is the direction of B bar. If I consider a small element of length in the direction of B bar, so angle between B bar and DL bar, theta is equal to 0. The line integral of B bar dot DL bar value, BDL into cos 0, so will be equal to mu naught into I net value, N into I, which can be written as line integral of B into DL, so will be equal to mu naught into N into I. So B into line integral of which one? DL will be equal to mu naught into N into I. So from this, B into line integral of DL value 2 pi into R will be equal to mu naught into N into I. So from this, what is the value of B is equal to mu naught into N into I. So divided by 2 into pi into R. So B value is equal to how much? Mu naught divided by 2 pi into N into I divided by R. Okay, Nara? So we know that the length of the coil L is equal to 2 pi R. Length of the toroid will be equal to, so total circumference. When L is equal to 2 pi R, R is equal to L divided by 2 pi. If I substitute this value, what is B given by? B is equal to mu naught by 2 pi into N into I divided by R value. So L divided by how much? L divided by, so which one? L divided by 2 pi. 2 pi will go to numerator, L into 2 pi. So 2 pi cancel, which is given by B is equal to mu naught into capital N by L into I. Can I write it is I naught capital N by I into, here I need to write I naught because I called initial current is I naught. Here everywhere I need to put I naught. Clear, Dara? So mu naught into N into I naught. Here also I naught. So I naught value. Then which can be also written as mu naught into N into I, where small n is the number of turns per unit length. So what is? Where since small n capital N by L, number of turns per unit length, B value is equal to mu naught into N into I. Understood? This expression is same as that of, so magnetic field induction due to a solenoid at the center of the solenoid. So at the center expression value mu naught into N into I. So from this B value inversely proportional to R. So when you move away from the center, what happened to the magnetic field induction value? 0. Magnetic field induction value 0 inside the solenoid, magnetic field induction value 0 outside the solenoid. So magnetic field induction will be present only on this solenoid. Okay, Nara? So this is the expression for magnetic field induction due to toroid. So what is toroid? Toroid also cylindrical coil with a large number of turns but bent in the form of circle. So when current is passing through this toroid, each and every turn will act like a circular coil which will produces the magnetic field. The total net magnetic field is the vector sum of magnetic field due to, so individual turns. That magnetic field due to a circular coil is along the axis of the circular coil. So here also the magnetic field will exist only on the surface of the toroid. To calculate this magnetic field, so we applied which law? Ampere's circuit law. So this is regarding solenoid and toroid. So till now we discussed what is magnetic effect of electric current, and to find the magnitude of magnetic field, two laws. One is of Biot-Savart's law and other is of Ampere's circuit law. So I told to you yesterday what is the limitation of Ampere's circuit law. Even this Ampere's circuit law is applicable only for steady current. When current passing through a conductor is steady, then only we can apply this Ampere's circuit law. Okay, Nara? Then after the solenoid and toroid, now today we will discuss another very important derivation, that is force between two parallel current carrying conductors. Two parallel current carrying conductors. Two conductors carrying current, when they place side by side, I want to calculate what is the force between that two parallel current carrying conductors. It's very important derivation for 5 marks, many time given question. The second 5 marks question of this chapter. So which is the first 5 marks question we got in this chapter? Till now we have discussed some 3 marks questions, only one 5 marks. That is magnetic field due to circular coil, circular current carrying coil. The second 5 marks question of this chapter, this one only, the force between the two parallel current carrying conductors. So let me consider two conductors carrying a current. So let me call one conductor name is X, other conductor name is Y. These two conductors let me call separated by a distance d, so in free space or vacuum, such that first conductor carrying a current I1, the second conductor carrying a current I2. So let us imagine that initially both the conductors are carrying the current in the same direction. It is not compulsory every time the conductor should carry the current in the same direction. Are you getting it? So two parallel current carrying conductors X and Y separated by a distance d in air or vacuum, so carrying a current I1 and I2 in the same direction. Now I want to derive expression for magnetic field due to this force between these two parallel current carrying conductors X and Y. First, because I1 is carrying a current, so when it is carrying a current, then what happens? Around this current carrying conductor, what will be there? Magnetic field will be there. So when I1 is carrying a current, the magnetic field due to this current carrying conductor I1. How can I calculate? These points are important, directions are especially important. Now for finding the magnetic field produced by the conductor X, you can apply either right hand thumb rule or Maxwell's Kirchhoff's rule. If I apply the right hand thumb rule, then what happens? So magnetic field lines are concentric circles. Remember, when thumb is indicating the direction of the current, the remaining curved fingers of the thumb will indicate the direction of magnetic field lines. When you know the magnetic field lines, if you want to calculate the magnetic field at a particular point, you need to draw tangent. The tangent drawn to the magnetic field lines at a point will give us the direction of the magnetic field. Now first I imagined, so I have drawn concentric circles. So concentric circles are indicating the magnetic field due to current carrying conductor X. So these concentric circles are like this. Now I want to calculate the magnetic field. So at a point P, where does the point P lies? Point P lies on conductor Y. What is the distance of the point P? The distance of the point P is exactly d. Clear Dana? By Maxwell's Kirchhoff's rule, when you hold a current carrying conductor in your right hand, the magnetic field below is perpendicular to plane, perpendicular to the current carrying conductor and passing inward. So you can see, so thumb, these tips are there na? This side they are perpendicular to plane, passing inward. This side they are perpendicular to plane, passing outward. Here magnetic field is perpendicular to plane, passing inward. Whereas here magnetic field this side perpendicular to plane, passing outward. So according to that magnetic field, which one? According to that Maxwell's Kirchhoff's rule or Ampere's thumb rule, so direction of the magnetic field will be perpendicular to plane, so passing inward. So that direction will be given by, it should be perpendicular to plane, passing inward. So this is the direction of, can I call B1 bar? What is B1 bar? Magnetic field due to first or Bx bar, due to the conductor X at a point P. So what is the magnitude of this Bx? Magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. What is the formula? Mu naught into I1 divided by 2 into pi into d. Do you know this? Yesterday class we have seen, according to Ampere's circuit law, when a conductor carrying a current, what is the magnetic field at a point P, which is at a distance r, given by mu naught into I divided by 2 into pi into r. Can you remember? What is Bx? Bx is given by mu naught into I1 by 2 pi into d, where Bx is the magnetic field produced by X at a point P which is there on Y. But this Y carrying a current I2. So whenever a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, so it will experience a force. What is the force acting on the second Y? Force acting on the conductor Y due to X is given by force is equal to force acting on a current carrying conductor formula Bill sin theta. So Bx into current is I2 into, so length, can I call the length of the each conductor is L. Here I will consider, so length of each conductor. Even you can also consider infinite also. Each conductor length value can I call L. So into L into sin theta. Can you remember? We have discussed whenever a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, so what is the force acting given by Bill sin theta. Here what is theta? Theta is the angle between B and L. B will be perpendicular to plane, that is B perpendicular to L, correct? So from this, so what can I write? Force acting on the conductor Y due to X is given by Bx into I2 into L into sin 90. So from this, f of Yx will be equal to Bx into I2 into L into sin 90 value 1. So this f of Yx will be equal to Bx value mu naught into I1 into I2 into L divided by 2 pi d. So what is Fyx? Force acting on a conductor Y due to X. Can I call up? Force acting on which conductor? Y due to which conductor? X. How can I find the direction of that force? Force acting on a current carrying conductor can be calculated by using Fleming's left hand rule. According to this rule, if the forefinger is indicating the direction of the magnetic field and central finger is indicating the direction of the current, then thumb will indicate the direction of the magnetic force. So you apply that rule. This is the direction of which one? Magnetic field, and this is the direction the central finger will show vertically upwards, direction of the current. Then magnetic field is showing towards where? Towards X. So then what happened? This conductor Y you needed to apply properly. So this is the direction of which one? Current. This is the direction of magnetic field, and this is the direction of the current. Okay, Nara? So then it will show, actually it will show, so towards X, like this. Properly if you needed to stretch them, so mutually perpendicular. This is the direction of B1 and central one will be in the direction of I2. Then thumb will show towards where? So it will show, the tip you have to check it. It is not showing upward. So thumb will show towards where? X. So what is it meaning? That the conductor Y will be attracted towards X with a force given by, so f of Yx is equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 into L divided by 2 pi d. So what is this? Can I call it as Fyx as F? Fyx value is equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 into L by 2 pi d. So what is this force acting per unit length value? F by L value mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi d. So this direction of force will be towards where? Towards X. Similarly, so because Y also carrying a current I2, Y also produces the magnetic field. The magnetic field produced by Y, can I call it as By, which is mu naught into, so I2 divided by 2 into pi into d. If I consider the reference point on X conductor, so can I call this name is P dash. So what is the magnetic field at P dash due to Y? That is given by mu naught into I2 divided by 2 pi. So because of this magnetic field, even X also will experience a force. Force acting on X due to Y, so will be given by mu naught into I1 into I2 into L divided by 2 pi d. So what is this force acting per unit length? That is, can I call Fxy by L as F. Here also I will call fyx by L. So then I will get, this is F value is equal to, I will call force acting per unit length as F, then F value is equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi. So which is given by Fx by L will be equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi. See, there are two forces we calculated. So one is Fxy and other is Fyx. Force acting, even that force by applying Fleming's left hand rule, the direction of the force acting on x, so due to y, will be towards y. So what does it mean? Whenever two parallel conductors are placed near by near, then what happens? Both will attract each other if they carrying the current in the same direction. So for suppose if they carrying the current in opposite direction, they will repel each other. Here we are using totally three concepts. First, for finding the direction of the magnetic field, so we are using either Maxwell's corkscrew rule or Ampere's thumb rule. For finding the force acting on a conductor, so we are using Fleming's left hand rule. And one more is, so we have to know expression for magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor and expression for force acting on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. If you thorough with these 4 points, then only you can go through. So then only you can understand this. So from this what is cleared is force acting on one conductor due to other conductor is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. So that forces will form a action reaction pair? No. So they are not acting on a so they will form action reaction pair. When x will attract the y with the some force, y also will attract x with the same force but opposite in direction. So due to these forces, two conductors will attract each other. So therefore, what is the force between two parallel current carrying conductors? The force between the two parallel current carrying conductors, which is given by Fyx by L, will be equal to Fxy by L will be equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi d. So this formula very important for us. Compulsory you need to remember. Okay, Nara? So go through clearly. If any doubts are there, you can ask to your concern lectures. Directions are very important. Fleming left hand rule you needed to apply and right hand thumb rule you needed to apply. So then only you can obtain expression for this magnetic field. Okay, Nara? So after completion, even in this question also, for 5 marks if they given means, along with the derivation, so they used to ask, define ampere. Obtain the expression for force between the two parallel current carrying conductors. After completion, they will ask, so define ampere. So what is F value is equal to, F is equal to Fxy by L will be equal to Fyx by L will be equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi d. So what is this F? Force acting per unit length. F value mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi d. By using this derivation, now I want to define for ampere. So when current passing through a conductor is said to be ampere. Already you defined in current electricity chapter, so I is equal to Q by T. When current is said to be 1 ampere, when 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second, then current is said to be 1 ampere. But here, so with respect to these two parallel current carrying conductors, what is the definition for 1 ampere? We will see. So let us consider two parallel current carrying conductors. So current value I1 and I2. The current passing through two conductors is said to be 1 ampere. If I1 is equal to I2 is equal to 1 ampere. Okay, so D is equal to 1 meter. If D is equal to 1 meter, I1 and I2, if I1 is equal to I2 is equal to 1 ampere and D is equal to 1 meter, then what happened to F? F value mu naught by 2 pi. So we know that mu naught by 4 pi value. So mu naught by 4 pi value will be equal to 10 power minus 7. mu naught by 2 pi value 2 into 10 power minus 7 Newton by meter. That means current passing through one conductor is said to be 1 ampere when it is separated from another identical conductor in air or vacuum by a distance of 1 meter, such that if they attract each other or repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Newton by meter, then the current through them is said to be 1 ampere. Are you getting up? To call current 1 ampere, what I need to consider? The current through a conductor is said to be 1 ampere when it is separated from another identical conductor at a distance of 1 meter in air or vacuum, such that they will either attract or repel each other with a force of 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Newton by meter. Then current is said to be how much? 1 ampere. Understood our definition for ampere? So ampere definition, even many times asked question. After completion of ampere definition, so next one, let me discuss one few points, extra information related with this parallel current carrying conductor. So let me consider first point. Even some NCERT problems are there based on this, that's why I am discussing. Let me consider one current carrying conductor carrying a current I1. So let me consider one rectangular loop. So this is also carrying a current I2. It is carrying a current loop such that this is at a distance A and this is at a distance B. So let me call this rectangular loop name PQRS. What is the name? PQRS. Now I want to calculate what is the force acting on this rectangular loop due to this current carrying conductor. So actually the ends QR and PS are perpendicular to the current carrying conductor. So when both are perpendicular to the current carrying conductor, so what happened to the magnetic force value? So magnetic force value will be equal to 0. Okay, Nara? So magnetic force value will be given by, so that you know that. Now we want to calculate magnetic field. So due to this magnetic force acting on this rectangular loop. For this rectangular loop, it is made up of 4 current carrying conductors. One is of PQ, the distance of PQ is E, and other one is of QR, and other one is of RS, and other one is of SP. So out of these two, QR and PS both are perpendicular. So how both are perpendicular? So when both are perpendicular, this QR and PS will not experience any force. So understood, Ara? Why will not experience any force? Magnetic field due to this current carrying conductor perpendicular to plane. So what is the formula for force acting on a current carrying conductor? Can you remember? Bil sin theta, BIL sin theta, which can be also written as F bar is equal to I into L bar cross B bar. So direction of F value will be equal to L bar cross B bar. So when I consider magnetic field due to this current carrying conductor, this will be perpendicular to plane. This side perpendicular to plane passing inward into the paper. This side perpendicular to plane passing out of the paper. So when I consider this is the magnetic field, so this magnetic field will be parallel to QR. So both will become parallel. When both will become parallel, cross product will be 0. So that's why there is no force acting on which one? QR and PS. So force will be acting only on which one? Force acting on PQ given by mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi A. And similarly, force acting on RS will be equal to mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi into B. But see, here current is upward, here current is downwards. So because of the current same direction, it will attract the PQ and repel the RS. So what is the net force acting given by F net value will be equal to which value was greater? So FPQ was greater, FPQ minus FRS, which is given by mu naught divided by 2 pi, mu naught into I1 divided by 2 pi, or I1 I2 by 2 pi if I take common, so 1 by A minus 1 by B. This is the expression for net force acting on the current loop. Whenever a rectangular current loop placed near to a current carrying conductor, the net force acting value given by mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 pi into, so 1 by A minus which one? 1 by B. Understood, Ara? After this, so one more, last two more points. So what is this? Second point is, let me consider one current carrying conductor which is fixed between the two rigid support. Let us suppose it is carrying a current I1. So another conductor carrying a current I2, so was kept above this current carrying conductor, such that the separation between both of them will be D. Now to keep the current carrying conductor, so this one above one, a current carrying conductor which is placed a current, so which is placed above the current carrying conductor I1 to be in equilibrium. I want to suspend this current carrying conductor carrying a current I2 above a fixed current carrying conductor carrying a current I1, when actually its weight is mg. When it will be suspended means, so this weight will be balanced by force due to this current carrying conductor. Are you getting, Anna? What is the condition for the above current carrying conductor to be hold? When it can be hold? The below current carrying conductor, if it is exert any force of repulsion, if that force will be balanced by weight, then the above current carrying conductor will be in equilibrium. For equilibrium condition, what? F is equal to mg. What is F value? Mu naught into I1 into I2 divided by 2 into pi into D will be equal to mg. This is the must and should condition for the above current carrying conductor to be in equilibrium. So when it is placed above, current should be in opposite direction. If the same condition given for below, now this is the fixed current carrying conductor carrying a current I1. If I place another current carrying conductor below, for this below current carrying conductor to be in equilibrium, so condition what? So it also should carry the current in the same direction. When it carry the current in the same direction, both will attract each other. That force of attraction will be balanced by weight. Are you getting us? That force of attraction will be balanced by which one? Weight. So this is the another important point for doing of numericals. After completion this, so last point for this. Till now we are discussing for, so which one? Only two current carrying conductors. How can I calculate? So due to three current carrying conductors, if three parallel current carrying conductors are there, A and this is B and this is C, such that A carrying a current I1, B carrying a current I2, C carrying a current I3. The separation between A and C, A, and separation between C and B, let me call B. Now what is the force acting on C? So due to A, that is given by mu naught I1 I2 divided by, so 2 into pi into A. This force is towards where, so C, when A and C both are carrying the current in the same direction, C will be attracted towards where, so C will be attracted towards A. Similarly, force acting on C due to the conductor B given by mu naught into I1, mu naught into I2 into I3 divided by 2 into pi into B. So since C and B both are carrying the current in the same direction, C also will be attracted towards B. So CB. How CAB and FCA and FCB both are opposite in direction, but you cannot tell both are equal also in magnitude. So then what happen? What is the net force acting on C? So that is given by FCA minus, so FCB. Here we cannot tell which is greater, which is smaller. So that's why I put this symbol. So that time I will get mu naught into I2 divided by 2 into pi into, here I will get I1 by A minus of and I2 by B. That minus sign which is greater, that one you can put. So this is the value of what FC. And what is the condition if FC value is equal to 0? If FC is equal to 0, so then what I will get? I1 by A is equal to I2 by B. This is the condition when net force acting on C so will be equal to 0. Then this point also important. So that is force acting on C due to A and B. After completion of this, so one more last pointer for here is, how can we locate the null point? So what is the meaning of null point? The point at which the resultant magnetic field will be 0. Now let me consider two parallel current carrying conductors carrying a current I1 and I2 in the same direction. So if for example the separation between these two will be D. Now if I consider a point P, so this point P distance x from the first current carrying conductor. What is the distance of the point P from the second will become D minus x. Now what is my condition is, so net force acting at point P should be equal to 0. Should be equal to 0. So what is the condition? To calculate the net force acting on the conductor, so let me consider one test current I naught. So then what happen? Fp will be equal to force acting due to first conductor minus force acting due to second conductor should be equal to 0. That is F1 will be equal to F2. What is the force acting due to first conductor? Mu naught into I1 into I naught divided by 2 into pi into x will be equal to mu naught into I2 into I naught divided by 2 pi into d minus x. So mu naught by 2 pi cancel, and also which term also cancel? I naught cancel. Then what I will get? I1 by x will be equal to I2 divided by d minus x. So from this what I will get? D minus x by x will be equal to F2 by F1. So from this is d by x minus 1 is equal to F2 by F1. From this, so d by x will be equal to, so F2 by F1 plus 1. From this x is equal to d, so divided by F2 by F1 plus 1. Understood, Anna? What is x distance of the null point? Even null point is studied in electrostatics, electrostatic potentials also. Whenever two parallel current carrying conductors carrying the current in the same direction, so null point will be located where? Exactly in between the two parallel current carrying conductors. If they carrying the current in opposite direction, null point will be, so it is not in between, it is beyond. So beyond the parallel current carrying conductors. That null point will be, if they are not carrying the current of same magnitude, null point will be located to a conductor of carrying less current. Same conditions you written there in electrostatics, where null point formula can you calculate? In electrostatics, whenever a charge is there, two charges are there, Q1 and Q2, separated by a distance d, such that so Q1 is less than Q2. The distance of the null point from the Q1 is given by x value is equal to d divided by root over Q2 by Q1 plus or minus 1. The plus sign for like charges, minus sign for unlike charges. Can you remember? The same formula here also will get that x value is equal to, so d divided by, even F2 by F1 is there now. Even this F2 F1 value also, instead of writing this is what I needed to write, sorry, here it is not F2 na, this is I1 and I2, so this is the value of I2 by I1. Here also what I need to write? I2 by I1. So here is the value is I2 divided by I1. then x value is equal to d divided by so I2 by I1. Whenever the current through two parallel conductors are given by using this formula, so we can calculate null point. Understood, Anna? So this topic is very important for doing numericals also. Okay, so the remaining part will continue in the next class. Thank you.